The year is 2100, and humanity looks like a 20-minute infomercial for wellness supplements. Between life-extending science and a global obsession with fitness, everyone looks like a gym model. But the real money isn't in the gym, it's in God's domain, a virtual reality game that has become the beating heart of the global economy. Fast forward to 2139. Shi Feng, captain of the Shadow Guild, is having the worst day of his life. He worked himself to the bone to take his team to the top, only for his bosses to thank him with a boot to the head. They deleted his account in a heartbeat and tossed his termination papers in his face like a cheap pizza flyer. They offered him a voluntary retirement package, a luxury mansion, and enough credits to last a lifetime, if he promised to never touch a computer again. A peaceful retirement, sure, but one that felt completely hollow. Shi Feng locked himself away to drown his sorrows, feeling like a high-end beggar, surrounded by luxury, but stripped of the respect he spent 10 years building. He cursed the paperwork, downing an entire bottle to forget he'd been tossed out like yesterday's trash, until his phone started ringing loud enough to drill a hole through his skull. He woke up with a killer hangover, swearing he'd never drink again, but then he noticed something was off. He answered a call from a guy named Blackie, who was rambling about some recruitment drive at the university, and when he caught his reflection in the mirror, his heart nearly stopped. It wasn't just the hangover. He was a kid again. He checked the date and confirmed the miracle. It was April 19, 2129. He'd gone back exactly 10 years, his veteran soul trapped in the body of a student. Fate had handed him a second chance just as he'd hit rock bottom, and now that he knew exactly what was coming, he wasn't going to let those traitors walk all over him again. On his way to class, he ran into Blackie, his future right-hand man, who at this point was still just a wide-eyed kid full of dreams. The kid was desperate to go sign up with a big guild, but Shi Feng knew how that story ended. He stopped him cold. They weren't joining anyone. He was starting his own studio, and he needed Blackie on the team. Blackie just stood there, completely lost, because a project like that required a fortune they didn't have. But Shi Feng already had the strategy mapped out. They were going to use the 10-day free trial for students in God's domain to rake in a mountain of cash. He grabbed some supplies, put on his neural helmet, and prepared to log in. This time, he was the one who would be moving the pieces. The moment he connected, Shi Feng was greeted by the classic God's domain interface. He stared at the menu, feeling a wave of nostalgia wash over him. Suddenly, Gabriel appeared, a guide who looked like she'd stepped straight out of a J-pop group. She presented the 12 classes available for him to choose from, and he didn't hesitate for a second. Swordsman, it had always been his specialty. He also did a quick cosmetic overhaul. He knew if he kept his real face, his enemies would hunt him down long before the monsters did. First things first, he picks Red Leaf Town. It's the perfect spot to farm in peace without the big guilds breathing down his neck. The second he sets foot in the village, the sheer level of realism leaves him speechless. Everything is exactly as he remembers it, right down to the newbies whining about the world being too immersive. Shi Feng opens his interface, but instead of dumping everything into strength to hit like a truck, he sinks all his points into agility. He knows something it'll take others months to figure out. Early on, raw power is useless if the monsters are faster than you. As he finishes gearing up, he gets a call from Blackie. The guy is hyped because he just became a cursemancer, so Shi Feng takes a moment to explain the deal with unique quests, those one-time events with rewards so broken, they basically set you up for life. He tells Blackie to wait right there, promising to carry him through a leveling grind that'll leave everyone else in the dust. Walking through the plaza, he spots a beggar slumped in a corner, pleading for a scrap of food because he hasn't eaten in 5 days. Anyone else would have just tossed him some bread, but Shi Feng knows that blind charity gets you nowhere in this game. He approaches the man and tells him straight up that he's not giving away handouts. But if there's any dirty work that needs doing, he's more than available. Right then, the old man, Sherlock, drops the sob story act and makes a real proposal. He wants the mayor dead. A unique quest notification pops up with a high-pressure timer, and Shi Feng accepts without a second thought. He heads straight for City Hall, where a massive line of players is waiting for the mayor to throw them a few crumbs of XP. The boss is level 15 with a massive health bar, an impossible wall for a fresh player. But Shi Feng isn't here to wait his turn. He hurls an apple right into the mayor's face, proving that taking down a politician just requires good aim and zero respect for authority. The system warns him they are now sworn enemies, and the mayor loses it, screaming about throwing him into the dungeon. As the guy explodes in a fit of rage, Shi Feng tells the crowd to get their last screenshots in because they're about to be down one mayor. About 15 minutes before everything went to hell, Shi Feng was already scouting out City Hall. He found the line was endless, but he didn't have time to waste like the rest of these suckers. He spotted a kid trying to act like a pro by giving out advice, and fed him a total BS story about a secret god-tier hunting zone. He didn't just trick the guy, he actually managed to hustle 10 copper coins out of him for the info. With the cash in hand, he goes straight to a vendor and buys 10 tomatoes. A few girls nearby laugh at him, thinking he's just a clueless noob, but he's got a plan they won't see coming. Stepping into City Hall, he's greeted by Mayor Cross, a level 15 boss, clad in golden armor that shines almost as bright as his massive ego. Shi Feng marches right up to the desk, pops a tomato into his mouth, and lets the show begin. He tears into the guy, calling him a fat, bald, useless waste of space, before finishing the performance by smashing a ripe tomato right between the mayor's eyes. The mayor's face turns a shade of red that puts the fruit to shame, and a system notification pops up. They are now officially sworn enemies. The other players look on in pure disbelief at the suicide mission, but the mayor is already lunging at him with everything he's got. Shi Feng barely manages to parry the blow with his wooden blade. The impact is brutal, sending him skidding back several yards, but he stays on his feet. Suddenly, the politician's face begins to contort, his human mask slipping away to reveal his true form, a feral, bloodthirsty werewolf. Die, you insect! The beast roars, sending the entire hall into a blind panic. But this was the master plan all along. If he'd used a weapon, the guards would have executed him as a criminal. By using a tomato, he only lowered his favorability enough to make the boss snap and reveal his dark side in public. He let the system fight his battle. Now the guards are swarming the wolf, unleashing a storm of arrows and steel while Shi Feng just watches from the sidelines. Finally, the mountain of muscle and fur hits the floor with a heavy thud. The players rush the corpse expecting the loot of a lifetime, but they're met with total disappointment. No gold, no XP, nothing. They turn to demand answers from the tomato kid, but Shi Feng has already vanished. Tucked away in a quiet alley far from City Hall, he checks his inventory with a smirk. In his hands is the mayor's seal, the real prize. He just swiped the keys to the city while everyone else is still cleaning blood off their boots. Sherlock is over the moon, celebrating like he hit the jackpot just for getting his medallion back. The real win, however, is the reward: 2,000 XP and a luxury chest that practically glows. Yi Feng cracks it open and finds a black iron gravity ring, a rare accessory that makes him light as a feather for 30 seconds, exactly what he needs for his next move. With the level up, he doesn't hesitate to dump every single point into agility. He moves with the fluid grace of a professional assassin now, and even his strikes carry more weight since his sword mastery hit the 20-point milestone. But to be a real threat, he needs a new kit, so he heads straight for the Goblin Challenge to farm a skill book. The catch? Once you're inside, the system caps your stats at 10 and nerfs your gear. It's a test of pure mechanical skill. The entry fee is basically highway robbery, with the organizers fleecing anyone desperate enough to try. There, he spots a guy named Shi Feng. It's hard to believe this kid begging for coins for one last shot will eventually become a legendary assassin and a famous guild leader. Right now though, he's just a pathetic sight to behold. Yi Feng sees the desperation and decides to play the lone shark. The assassin asks for 5 coins and promises to pay back 20, but Yi Feng demands 50 by tomorrow morning. He knows nothing motivates a man like a soul-crushing debt that'll ruin his life before lunch. Shi Feng is so desperate he takes the deal, completely unaware he just sold his soul to the devil. While the kid's friends groan over the debt they just inherited, Yi Feng is gloating, making money this easily almost feels like a sin. At the registration desk, the local extras just laugh in his face. Nobody expects a rookie to clear the course when the expert couldn't even make it 2 yards. But Shi Feng ignores the background noise. He already knows exactly how to break the system. The countdown hits 0, and he bolts like he's got a debt collector breathing down his neck. The moment the Goblin Challenge kicks off, those musket-wielding pests don't waste a second before opening fire. Shi Feng tears across the field as if he left the stove on, weaving through the volleys with an agility that defies logic. Shots ring out from every direction, but he moves with surgical precision, leaving the goblins shooting at thin air. The onlookers are absolutely floored. Shi Feng is convinced this guy isn't even human, and even the party leader has to admit he couldn't do any better. Still, he keeps his ego in check, muttering that the kid's luck will run out once he hits the 15-yard mark. The second he crosses that line, the floor glows and the game decides to stop playing nice. The goblins swap their muskets for automatic weapons, and it starts raining lead. Shi Feng just smirks. To him, this is just another box to check on his list. He drops into a low slide, dodging entire bursts as debris flies everywhere. The haters on the sidelines are already savoring his failure, waiting for a single bullet to put him in his place. Poor fools. They have no idea they're watching a veteran who knows every single trick in the book by heart. Instead of just running, he draws his blade and starts parrying projectiles like he has eyes in the back of his head. He doesn't even flinch as the sparks fly. His level of focus is honestly terrifying. The redhead's eyes nearly pop out of his skull. He can't believe a low-level player possesses that kind of control. Shi Feng keeps pushing through the crossfire, completely locked in on reaching the goal without taking a single scratch. When one of the guys starts panicking because the target hit 25 yards, his boss shuts him up with a swift backhand. Nothing's more educational than a slap to the face when reality is already shoving your words down your throat. Deep down, even the leader is breaking into a cold sweat at such monstrous skill. Shi Feng doesn't even blink. He's got the finish line in his sights, and nothing is going to break his rhythm. But the system isn't done yet. It orders the goblins to roll out the heavy Gatling guns to finish him off. Now things are getting ugly. The sheer volume of fire is so heavy that it looks like they're trying to erase him from the map entirely. Shi Feng grits his teeth and dances through the hail of bullets, slicing through lead with a chilling calmness. He's not just dodging anymore, he's neutralizing everything before it can touch him. It's basically real-life hacking. He bursts through the smoke and fire without breaking a sweat, hitting a final sprint that leaves the spectators with their jaws on the floor. The goblins go ballistic because the kid just shattered the record. 14 seconds to take first place and clear the bronze challenge. The prize is a silver coin and the real treasure, the Thundering Flash skill book. It's an incredible technique for a beginner. 3 consecutive light strikes with a wide AoE that hit harder with every impact. Shi Feng finishes the trial with a satisfied grin, knowing he now has a massive head start on everyone else. He looks over the book, confirming it was well worth the effort. This is the kind of power that makes the rest of the game a breeze. He walks away with the swagger of a man who's seen it all before. But not before reminding the guy from earlier not to forget the 50 copper he owes him. The moment the boss lets his guard down, his lackeys start whispering about jumping Shi Feng to steal back the reward money. The boss shuts them down with a heavy-handed reality check, reminding them that trying to rob a guy who deflects bullets is the fastest way to end up in a casket. You don't pick a fight with an expert of that caliber. You pray he stays on your good side. With his pockets a bit heavier, and his skill book learned, Shi Feng heads into the woods, ready to get down to some serious grinding. He's practically broke though. After blowing almost everything on explosive berries, he's down to his last 30 copper. He needs to start turning a profit fast before he's dead in the water. He arrives at the Red Leaf Forest, a low-level zone where newbies usually huddle together in groups of 4 out of pure terror. And for good reason, dying here is a brutal setback that costs you an entire level and your gear. The game strips away your progress and your dignity in a heartbeat, sending you back to the lobby with nothing but the clothes on your back. Some guy with an ego tries to mark his territory at a spawn point, but Shi Feng doesn't even give him a second glance. He's not about to waste time squabbling over scraps. Along the path, he spots some bears that look like furry tanks, but they have way too much defense and a nasty habit of calling for backup when cornered. Better to just steer clear. He spots a lone wolf and figures it'll be a quick, easy kill to get things moving. But as he leaps down into a clearing, he realizes he's jumped straight into the lion's den, or in this case, the wolf's. The place is crawling with glowing red eyes that have already marked him as their next meal. They all lunge at once, and the marathon begins. Shi Feng is running for his life, vaulting over rocks and dodging snapping jaws by mere inches. Luckily, he's got his gravity ring ready. He activates the gravity liberation skill and shoots upward like he's got springs in his boots. That was a close call, even for him, and it's a stark reminder that underestimating the map is the shortest path to becoming Monster Chow. His next stop is the Central Mountain Range, a level 6 zone that would be a suicide mission for anyone else. But he's not here for the view. He knows there's a secret silver chest hidden at the summit, and he plans to claim it before anyone else gets wise to it. There's no clear trail to the top, but that only stops ordinary players. Using the agility buff from his ring, he starts scaling the rocks behind a waterfall. With that extra burst of speed, the laws of physics become more like polite suggestions. He's just about to reach the peak when a massive stone hand tries to swat him like a fly. Shi Feng doesn't even flinch. He just stands there with a look that says, "I've been expecting you," as the zone boss emerges. A level 5 rock giant with a health bar that seems to go on forever. Instead of backing down, he pulls a little gift out of his inventory, an explosive berry. He tosses it right at the behemoth's feet, trapping the giant inside a shimmering blue force field. The item does its job perfectly. The giant goes from a lethal threat to a glorified garden statue, giving Shi Feng the opening he needs to start carving it up. With the monster slowed to a crawl, Shi Feng unleashes a flurry of strikes, each hit steadily leveling up his sword mastery. To him, this isn't a life or death struggle. It's a private training session to farm XP, while his target can't even touch him. The beast throws a desperate swipe, but it's got the reflexes of a drugged turtle. Shi Feng effortlessly clears the blow with a single leap and finishes the thing off with a relentless flurry of slashes. As the massive heap of stone crumbles into nothing but rubble, the kid strolls through the wreckage looking like he just finished a day at the spa. Talk about a wild ride. If the MC treats the laws of physics like they're just suggestions, make smashing that like button your only law today. Subscribe to keep breaking the system, and let me know in the comments which manhwa you want me to cover next. See you at the top.